Welcome to FirstOntario's One-to-One Connect. I am Lloyd Smith, the CEO of FirstOntario Credit Union. Today's podcast is actually being done and filmed here at the Food for Life in Burlington. And this is a little different episode than what we've done in the past, but it's a very important episode, and we're trying to bring awareness to something that unfortunately is plaguing society, and that is food insecurity. So today I'm actually joined by Cathy Haan, the Executive Director for Food for Kids in Hamilton, and Karen Randell, our Executive Director for the Food for Life in Burlington. And so again, welcome ladies to our show. I'm going to start with you, Karen. Maybe you can give our audience a little bit of understanding about the great work that's being done here at Food for Life in Burlington.
Absolutely, and thank you for hosting us here today. Food for Life is Hamilton and Halton's largest food rescue hub. We rescue surplus food from all different areas of the food industry and redistribute it to folks who are experiencing food insecurity. We do that through about 45 programs that Food for Life runs itself in Halton and in Hamilton. As well, we partner with about 45 community partners who run their own food security programs, such as food banks and meal programs. So the food we rescue supports 90 programs and feeds about 4,500 households each and every week who access programs throughout Hamilton and Halton.
That's amazing. And I know, again, at FirstOntario, one of the things that's important to us is to be part of what I call the solution rather than the problem. And again, we're so happy to be able to support the great work that you're doing here in community. I also want to mention that just recently we did what we call our Big Check event, and both you ladies were with us a few days ago, and we're so pleased to be able to support 25 agencies, of which you two are running 2 of them, and our donation of $135,000. So. Cathy, over to you. Again, I've got a little bit of an understanding about the work that you're doing at Food for Kids. I actually do participate as part of our Blue Wave volunteer program in the St. Catharines area, and so I do know the need is great there. But again, I'd like for you to tell us about Food for Kids in Hamilton. I guess how big the need is that you're addressing in that community.
Thanks, Lloyd. So Food for Kids Hamilton works with schools in Hamilton, and when school staff notice that a student is facing and suffering the effects of food insecurity, particularly at a crisis level, they call us. And we work with the school to really triage the level of food insecurity that student is faced with. And it's typically at, like I said, at that crisis level. And we register the student into our program. And what that means is they will begin to receive a bag of food from us before every weekend. So we work with a large team of volunteers that pack bags of food every week that contain about 15 items, which will feed a student, a child, on Saturday and Sunday, breakfast, lunch, plus 4 healthy snacks. And we will deliver that bag of food directly to their schools. So we're removing any of those barriers that students may face in accessing food. And we're talking about the kids that would otherwise go an entire weekend without food. And they would wake up on Saturday and wonder why they don't have access to breakfast like you and I might. And so right now, Food for Kids Hamilton is feeding 1,750 students every single weekend within 94 schools.
And again, as I said, I've actually participated in those pack-out events. And again, that you're spending an hour and a half doing it. The numbers in St. Catharines aren't obviously as big as what it would be in Hamilton. But again, I know that there's amazing work that's being done to support kids over the weekend. Maybe you can just describe again, what are some of the societal issues that are sort of causing families to have some of the troubles in terms of being able to provide food for their kids over the weekend?
Yeah, a lot of what we're seeing is exactly what we hear in the news, that rent is so expensive. Food is expensive, utilities are expensive, employment opportunities may be limited. And so what we've seen this year as compared to other years is the number of families that we were aware of, they were on our radar, and they were always at risk of being at that crisis level. And they've gone from being at risk to a critical state of food insecurity, because there's truly only so long any of us could go without employment or without being able to pay rent. And so the caregivers of the kids in our program are making impossible decisions every single week, every month, paying rent or buying food. I can't afford my utilities. And so the issues that our kids are facing are exactly those that we're hearing about in our communities. And it's a really, really tough time right now.
Again, part of what we're doing this, again, as I said in my opening comments, is to really bring awareness to something that is really sort of, plaguing a society. And again, food is necessary for survival. Again, at First Ontario, we have what we call, our corporate social responsibility. We have 4 pillars, and food insecurity is one of them. And again, all we're trying to do is create awareness and be part of that solution, as I've said in some of my opening comments. When I turn back to you, though, Karen, in terms of similar kind of question I asked Cathy, what is sort of driving the need? And the need, obviously, with your numbers were staggering, and I'm sure those numbers are increasing every year. But what is it that you're seeing? What are some of the challenges that you're facing when you see some of your clients coming in?
Yeah, I would say that staggering is the absolute right word to use. Food Banks Canada a few weeks ago put out their most recent hunger report. And in the past 5 years, visits to food banks have doubled, and it's gone from 1 million to 2 million visits each and every month across Canada. And that's definitely something we see reflected both in the programs we operate directly and in the programs that we support with food. Like Cathy was saying, and I think most people would agree with, affordability is a really significant issue right now in Canada. We are seeing more and more folks come to our programs who are working, who have a full-time adult working or a two-person family who are both working, and they still cannot make ends meet. We see housing costs continue to rise. We see grocery costs continue to rise, and people are just not able to meet all of their financial demands. And so what we try to do is alleviate some of that pressure people are feeling by providing them with access to good, nutritious food. We really do focus at Food for Life on fresh and frozen, highly nutritious items because they really do support people in maintaining their physical health as well as their mental health, but also because those are often the foods that cost more when we're going grocery shopping. So I do really believe that the face of hunger in our communities is changing. Poverty is deepening for families who are already experiencing it, but it's also widening, and it's starting to include households that have never had to access food security programs before. So at Food for Life, what we really try to do is increase our food rescue efforts, look to see where there are gaps in the system that we can build out programs, make food access easier for people, and ensure that we're standing ready and able to meet that ever-growing need in the community.
Is there again, for our viewers, would there be maybe an example? I want to say a good news, but is there some kind of example where you could, again, help our viewers kind of relate to some of the customer clients that are coming in, and maybe something how you've kind of bridged that, as you said, that food insecurity, that they've run out of money for the week and they've been able to access the warehouse here?
Yeah, we recently completed our neighbor impact survey. We do research in-house, and we every year do a pretty comprehensive research study with any neighbor who wants to participate. And there was one neighbor in particular who shared her story. She's been accessing our programs for about 1.5 years. Prior to that, she had been using credit cards to purchase groceries for herself and her child. And she wasn't aware that food supports existed in the community. And once she became connected to Food for Life, she was able to really start paying off slowly some of that debt that she had accumulated. She was at a point where she was no longer seeing any way out of the financial challenge she was in. And this year in the Neighbor Impact Survey, she shared that she has been able to pay off all of that debt in full because she was able to access food supports and is now applying for school. She wants to go to college and get a diploma so that she can go and find better work for herself. And she said in the survey, because we asked people if they have anything they want to share or a quote, that accessing food from us has allowed her to start to dream about a future she stopped believing was possible. And that is just such a powerful thing to remember, that when people are faced with food insecurity, when they don't have money they need to get through their week or through their month, it really impacts their ability to dream about a future or see outside of that financial crisis that they're in. So access to food really does change the trajectory of people's lives and really does impact them in a meaningful way that goes so far beyond the food that they're receiving.
That is an incredible story, and I'm sure for yourself and obviously your team here at Food for Life, it's got to feel very good knowing that you've really been able to help that lady get out of a situation where she was really going in the wrong direction, especially with accumulating credit card debt. But again, we're talking about food, and this is necessary for survival. Cathy, again, over to you. Again, we're talking about children, we're talking about kids, we're talking about them going to school, hungry, and then on weekends, obviously not having food, right, to be able to get through to Monday. So again, maybe a similar type of question. Is there kind of an example of something that is kind of, I think our viewers would appreciate, just seeing again some of the work you're doing, but how it's actually impacting and touching the lives of kids?
One of the best phone calls we receive is when we're told that our program is no longer needed. And that is such a special moment for us to know that we were able to bridge that gap. And sometimes it's because mom or dad are now working or doing better if they were ill, or the kids have moved in with grandma, or whatever the case may be. We do have a lot of kids that exit our program simply because they're not at that level of need anymore. So that's always the best for us. We receive a lot of feedback from our schools, from teachers saying that the kids are arriving on Monday ready to learn, not distracted by hunger, because they didn't have to worry all weekend. They went home with a bag of bagels, lots of fresh fruit and vegetables, and they came to school eager to learn, because we truly believe that if we're able to help them academically, get a good education, maybe move on post-secondary, or continue to dream for those dreams that they may think are out of reach, that they can go on in life, and we might be able to break the cycle of poverty. So those are good news stories every time we hear that kids are doing better in the household. The household financially is doing better, or the kids are ready to learn. We have a lot of families that live in shelter, and they are able to make the move from shelter outside of shelter into maybe their own apartment, because it was one less thing to worry about. They didn't have to think about feeding the kids breakfast and lunch on Saturday and Sunday. They had access to that. We're definitely, our days are made brighter just by hearing that the kids are ready to learn. They're ready to be kids because they've got food in their bellies.
And it must be, again, I think really rewarding to know that at some point down the road, right, you've had I'll say a helping hand to that child, and they've gone on to do great things in life, but who knows what path would have taken for them if, again, Food for Kids wasn't around. So again, it's got to be really rewarding to know that you're just part of their journey in life and how they're actually going to be, adults and productive in life and have a good life and a good family.
We had one of our secondary school teachers reach out to us and let us know that one of the students who accessed several programs at the school, one of which was ours, was going on to post-secondary, was doing college applications, and they actually spoke to the teacher about our program being sort of one of their favorites and one of the programs that made a huge difference, because every week they were handed a bag of food, and they knew they have access to food. That was one less thing to worry about. And the food that we provide is easy open. They don't have to worry about a can opener or cooking it. It's good at room temperature. We think about the things that might make their lives a little bit easier so they can think about college applications and university applications and going on to do these amazing things in life.
So I'm going to turn it back to you, Karen, and I'm going to wrap up our segment. But I think it's important, again, for us as viewers to understand exactly what is happening over the next 5 years. Like, what do you sort of foresee? And again, how can our viewers, I guess, help in what you're facing every day? But what does the next 5 years look like for, again, Food for Life?
I think it's really important to remind people that food security is on the rise in Canada. And the things that are driving food insecurity, things that are driving poverty, aren't something that the food security system can fix. That our role really is to feed people, like Cathy was saying, whether it's a bag of food, whether it's coming to this market to do a shop, going to one of our fresh fridges to grab a few items for their family. That is the role of the food security sector. And while we play a very active role in advocating for systems change at all levels of government, until we really see those changes happening, people will continue to rely on us. And we cannot do the work that we do without the generosity of folks like FirstOntario Credit Union and the communities that we serve in. That there's such generosity, and just reminding people that there are so many ways you can help. You can volunteer. There is no minimum donation that makes a difference. Donating a can, donating $1 means somebody has access to food the following day. So just reminding people to always remember your neighbors who might be struggling and look at ways you can help them get through that difficult time.
Okay, thank you. And Cathy, again, as I said earlier, we're talking about children, and obviously the numbers that you're talking about are getting quite large. But in the next 5 years, what are you seeing? What is it that you're trying to plan for, I guess, as the executive director?
We're planning for more growth. We're planning to have more students join our program, and not only more students, but more schools. And so, like I said, we're at 94 schools. We'll see that surpass 100. We'll see us surpass probably 2,000 kids in the next 5 years. And with the generosity of our community, we are able to support those kids that need us. We will always be here to feed them, to provide that support. And what I would say is understand that an unfortunate set of circumstances can lead to this situation. And certainly no kid chooses this situation, but empathy goes a long way. Volunteer hours go a long way. Donating makes it possible for us to continue to fill those bags and make sure that our kids have access to food. It is such a basic need. And what we do is provide a very simple solution to a very complex problem. We have kids that are hungry in our community, so we give them a bag of food and they can eat. The complexity of the situation causing food insecurity to be on the rise is certainly not anything I can fix today or tomorrow or in the next 5 years, but we'll always be here to ensure that kids do not go days without food.
No, thank you. Again, I want to thank both Cathy and Karen for being on the One-to-One Connect show today. I really took a lot out of our conversation, and I hope our viewers did as well, and our employees. I'm just, again, so thankful that these organizations, and again, the other 23 organizations that we donated or that we contributed money towards this year, that they exist to support people in community. And again, what you're hearing from both Cathy and Karen is the need is increasing, and unfortunately, it's not getting any better. And so, again, I want to thank you for the amazing work you two are doing for community and supporting children and obviously families in need. Again, I'm going to wrap it up, and I'm going to just simply, again, thank everyone for being part of the One-to-One Connect episode today. I really hope that everyone has gained a lot of insight into I'll unfortunately say, a societal issue that is really plaguing us in terms of food insecurity. And whether you donate, whether you do volunteer work, please get involved and please support the amazing work that these organizations are doing for community. And hopefully, years down the road, we can control and reduce and hopefully eliminate food insecurity. Thank you.